Some names are synonymous with roofing in Colorado, and tonight's Lifetime Achievement honoree was certainly one of them. Though the award is given posthumously, Bill Peth's name will always be remembered among Colorado roofers. As one half of the well-known team of Fowler and Peth, Bill's Colorado roots began on the western slope. He was born in Grand Junction at the start of the Roaring '20s and spent his formative years there during the Great Depression. Bill graduated from Grand Junction High School in 1938 and enrolled at Mesa College in his hometown. After 2 years there, Bill joined the Army Air Corps and was promptly sent to North Africa, where he spent World War II as a personnel officer. His most harrowing war experience came when he and some fellow soldiers, who may or may not have been drinking, had to land a plane with no landing gear. When he returned to the States, he was reunited with his childhood sweetheart, Jane Goddard, who had spent most of the war years teaching English to Air Force cadets in Cheyenne, Wyoming. After a wedding in New York, the pair enrolled at the University of Colorado.
When he got out of the Air Force after World War II, he went to work for a sawmill in Saponaro, Colorado, selling fence posts. And one of his customers owned the general store in Crawford, South Dakota. His name was Herb Fowler. Together, they kind of got an idea for a wholesale lumber business, and they opened Fowler and Peth in Cheyenne, Wyoming in 1948.
While Herb and a silent partner provided the startup funds, Bill, who had no funds to invest but did have a brand new DeSoto, took to the road as the company's sales rep. A natural-born peddler, Bill was what his son Kurt calls a bean can salesman. While on the road making sales calls and to avoid having to stop for meals, Bill used a plastic spoon to eat from a can of beans perched on the car's front seat.
My dad was an innovator in the industry. They were one of the first independent distributors that sold everything that the lumberyard bought. Nobody had ever really consolidated the business into one-stop shopping.
Things started booming, so they soon opened a shop in Casper in 1950 and Denver in 1963. The company would eventually boast offices in Colorado Springs, Rifle, Montrose, Scottsbluff, and Kearney, Nebraska.
Well, early in the 60s, there really wasn't a lot of competition. We were one of the first companies that specialized in roofing distribution. When somebody sees a successful business model, there's going to be copycats. So through the 70s, various companies opened and began to do the same thing that my dad was doing.
Another of Bill's innovations occurred later that same decade. In those days, roof loads were left on the ground for the crew to hand load.
We decided that a good service for contractors would be if we went out and loaded them on the roof, the contractor could just show up with a nail bag and a hammer and go to work. And it was very successful. Today, it's the model for most of the country.
Roofing helpers the world over have rejoiced every day since.
My dad still lived in Cheyenne as he did his whole life, and Dad liked Cheyenne. His friends were in Cheyenne. His family was in Cheyenne. He was looked up on as one of the leading businessmen in Cheyenne. He'd go back and forth between Cheyenne and Denver nearly every day for 35 years.
That time on the road helped him develop the Fowler and Peth philosophy that kept the company among industry leaders well into the 21st century. Bill's business model was simple. Listen to the customers at all times, building lasting relationships with them and the manufacturers, and treat them all like they were family friends. And oh yeah, always be ready for the next hailstorm.
He had a carpenter's apron, and he would put a roof hatchet in it and a bottle of either wild turkey or something like that. He goes, okay, go out and see your contractors and tell them, we know we're in a hailstorm, but this will be a little bit of a reminder who to buy from.
My dad was kind of a John Wayne figure, if you will. He was a very, very nice man, would do anything in the world for you, but he had a little bit of a bark.
First time I met Bill was 1972, when this warehouse opened up. And the one thing I noticed right away, even though the warehouse was full of people, boy, his voice just carried across everybody. His bark was worse than his bite. He turned out to be one heck of a gentleman.
In 1990, Bill was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He put up a valiant fight until June 11, 1994, when he succumbed to the disease.
When he passed away, I'll tell you what, there was not another one like him.
His sons kept the business open for 17 years more, finally selling out to Beacon Roofing Supply in November 2011.
This award means a lot to all of us in our family, as well as everyone associated with Fowler and Peth. And I know my dad would have been very, very proud to be recognized as an innovator and a leader.
I think at the end of the day, he would be proud that his associates thought enough of him as a businessman to honor him in this way. And we're extremely proud that the CRA has chosen to honor my dad in this way.
The Colorado Roofing Association is proud to honor Bill Peth with this year's Lifetime Achievement Award.